Today is August 3rd, 2025. Okay. These people are so dumb. How many times Michelle has even told federal agents that that doctor from before was not one of mine? He works for them and they had lied. He was one of my doctors and she doesn't even know who he is. All right. Down at the Tuscarora Sheriff, some sheriff was talking on the phone behind a divider. That anybody shows up and says something about her, they are to detain them and call the FBI. And they want them. They've already made fun of an FBI agent for falling for this. They're using a doctor that is not one of hers, but works for them. Okay? And they think they stole somebody else's medical records and put her name on them. Okay? I don't believe it's a doctor. Where retired Judge Pete, friends with Ludick, let him get away with crimes. He was with the Florida drug cartel. I think it was, where they said that they made him up. Where the guy on the motorcycle said as if Ludick had let him get away with crimes. Well, there was a guy, looked like a drained Santa Claus, with the Florida drug dealers at Faith Family Church telling people that. Like 3,000. Michelle was there. People saying they work for Judge Peters from Florida. Judge Peters and 100 men were arrested by the FBI in 22. His people were up here bragging. Okay? But the one that is a retired Judge Pete, friends with Ludick, was a scam. And then the guy said, the tape of Weird with Yourself. Where Karen took those puppies inside. I forgot how big she was when the case started because I used to be really heavy. Said I did a body ratio. It wasn't even her. Where they laughed at me that they photoshopped me in the shower washing myself in another room. It's not even me. They just put my head on somebody else's body. Okay. Well, the next day in Bob Evans, I was going through stuff. There's a guy on the other side of the divider. I gotta leave some idiots come in for a bill from the Freemasons, big scam. Huh? Says something, oh, John verified it. I'm like, hell no, he didn't. And I start going through how he defended me, that no one could say anything bad about me. Melissa just had the kids make up something because of the divorce, moving out, and have her church people make up something too. But trust me, Mom, nobody can say anything bad about you. Then what Melissa did, how she snuck in his house, hid, wait for him, come out of the bathroom, lunged at him. And he was startled and shocked her because he didn't know she was even in the house. And he just locked her. Now a guy had arrested domestic violence. And then a year or two later, needed someone to pick up Kenzie Carrington and Noah, called me up and said, Mom, I need a reliable name to pick up the kids. Okay? And I said, John, I work 2 jobs. I don't get off the first one, let alone the second one. I barely make it now. Mom, if you don't help me, I won't get my kids back. I can't even get partial custody after what she did. I said, John, I'll lose my apartment. I barely make it now. He said, Mom, these are my kids. I'll lose them forever. I said, John, I'll lose my apartment. He said, Mom, if you don't help me, I'll lose them forever. I said, I'm sorry. I don't make enough now. He lost his kids. Moved to Florida about 4 or 5 years ago. Remarried to a beautiful woman, comes to visit a couple times a year. He has to pay her like $30,000 in child support. She's electrical design engineer, makes $95,000 to $145,000. With the child support, she has an income of $145,000 to $175,000 a year. He would never help her if hell froze over, and he'd be mad at anybody did. Be a slap in his face for that bitch move. The whole thing they did is a bitch move. It's a big scam from Bill from the Freemasons. May 25th, 25, Hollister's. Laughing, boy, did Bill from the Freemasons run the biggest scam here. Had some guy go in and drug her up and tell her to say that. And we're laughing at me. Some more. Had some guy tape her in the shower washing herself. Can you imagine that? And Photoshop that in the other room. They ran a contest off of it, who could steal her money. Scammed everybody into helping out. April 24th, 25 up in Summit Mall. The Texas group is up there. You tell that guy Will that's to pull off a scam here to join us. That it's all ruined because Michelle told on him that doctor was not one of hers, but works for them, and they lied. He was one of hers. I'll tell you what, there was a guy in Bob Evans on the other side of the divider where I was talking to Carl. I said, I wonder when the FBI is going to actually arrest them. I said, when are they going to get around to arresting him? I said, remember when those idiots were sitting over in that booth and they said something about John verifying it? I'm like, hell no. He wouldn't have verified it. I said he wasn't part of it. And then I went up to the register and told what Melissa did to him. I said, when we went over to Walmart 62, you went in the bathroom, an investigator was in here. Yelled out and said, I told that couple never to say a word to her again. I interviewed John years ago. He said nothing bad happened to him. Where the FBI, right after Thanksgiving of 18, were talking about Melissa's lies in Walmart 62. And said, why are they having those kids make all that shit up? Oh, they're just trying to scare her out of giving up the house. That's it. We interviewed her whole family. They spoke highly of her. We're March 23rd, 23, Walmart 62, 2 FBI agents came in. We told these people, stay out of it. We interviewed her whole family a long time ago. She's never hurt anyone. No one's ever seen anything. And it's just some lady thought she could make money off of it. Now, there was a guy in Bob Evans today on August 3rd, 25, on the other side of the divider. I could hear him talk. John told the police and the investigators that nothing bad happened to him. We already have documented medical proof that doctor taped her. We had an attorney watch her so it'd be legal. And then we had him get her medical records where that doctor documented it. He must be afraid to say something. You want one of the other people from the scam? Pull Bob Evans on 62, sitting on the other side of the divider, where Michelle already said to an agent and told several agents, March 27, 25, the reason I don't know who that doctor is, he's not one of mine. He works for them and they had lied he was one of my doctors and I don't know who he is. I don't believe he's a doctor. I don't. Because even where I got my eyeglasses done, I was telling her about this. She said, do they not know HIPAA violations? The doctor would go to jail. That's where when I went down to get my CCW, someone was talking to a sheriff. He was behind a divider. Anybody shows up and says one word about her, they are to detain them. They already know they're using a doctor that's not one of hers. And the sheriff's like, that's not funny. It's a federal crime. And she doesn't know who he is. And they think that they stole somebody else's medical records and put her name on it. And they want them. They've already got a tape of them making fun of an FBI agent for falling for this. Anybody shows up and says one word, they are to detain them and call the FBI. They want their involvement. See, they thought they were smart where that guy said, well, we had medical proof because we had that doctor taper unaware saying da-da-da-da, where they drugged me and told me to say. Never met him. I Googled last night, what drug leaves a weird metal bitter taste in your mouth and causes sleepwalking. They're hallucinogenic drugs. There's a couple of them where it tasted like metal in my mouth and bitter, like bitter onions. And then like metal you couldn't get out of your mouth. Makes you sleepwalk, and they're hallucinogenic drugs. That's why I don't remember. They even found a concoction of drugs they were using. They could have killed me. Matter of fact, my eyes, they laughed at 19 after what they did to me. I'd go blind. Okay? This is premeditated. Where 12/21/18, I went and got a shower, went to the refrigerator to get juice. I had a house coat on. I was stabbed in the neck, bashed in the back of the head, beat, raped, and left for dead. They said it should have killed me. I got the size of a ball peen hammer in the back of my head. And then they would laugh at me that one day I'd go blind from it. I won't go blind, but I'll have to have eye surgery. I have fast growing cataracts. The doctor asked me if I had a really bad eye injury in both eyes. I said no. I Googled it last night. A real hard hit in the back of the head. Will it cause cataracts to grow? It says yes. Fast growing ones that show up years later. I got hit so hard in the back of my head it causes brain injury. And it knocks everything forward. They damaged my eyes. My head's damaged. I stutter now when I get upset. I had migraines for 2 years. They almost killed me. They beat me with internal injuries and had those assholes beat me under drugs in my stomach till they left giant bruises on them. They almost ruptured my intestines. I have large pouching in my intestines. They said it's only caused by repeatedly being hit in your stomach. My rib cage is damaged in my shoulder from the ass I was married to. And it's permanently damaged my rib cage. I had to be on bladder spasm medicine for 2 years from being raped and tortured. I have lifelong internal injuries from these idiots. And my eyes are damaged. And it was premeditated. Where do you think terrorists are funny? Where that idiot said, we had a doctor taper unaware so we'd have medical proof. It's not my doctor. I've never met them and I've never talked to him. I don't believe he's a doctor. I want the name of the dirty doctor. See, you give me the name of the dirty doctor. News crews. Face. Medical board. Lost a license immediately. And I hope you like life in federal. And I will put you on every social media account there is. This is not a threat. This is a promise what is coming at you. FBI, where the hell are you? Where the hell are you and why haven't you got them yet? See, these people are playing with such big terrorists where that guy said that attorney we hired to watch her so we'll make it legal. It's right on Google. If attorney sets up on cameras watching you, it's cyber stalking. It's a felony invasion of privacy. They are to be disbarred and criminally charged. See, these people are ignorant. Ignorant. They don't know the law. I can go on Google and it takes me 30 seconds to debunk what they did to me and that they go to jail. It's right on Google. An attorney can never set up on cameras watching somebody. They are to be disbarred. And criminally charged. You can sue them too. Name a daddy attorney. Karen wants to be a multimillionaire. Where that idiot in there, where we had a doctor document it in medical records. Okay, for one thing, it's not my doctor. Don't know who it is. Never talked to him. They're talking about the Ruthie confessions, where they already admitted it. They drugged me and told me to say it years ago in front of the police and feds. Made fun of FBI agent John for falling for him. It's not my doctor. I don't know who it is. And these people have, even down in Sugar Creek at Dutch Valley Restaurant, April 3rd, 25, they were admitting it wasn't my doctor. April 24th, 25, the Texas cartel admits up in Summit Mall. This is a scam from that guy Will to join them. And it's all wrong because Michelle told on him that that doctor from before was not one of mine. He works for them and he lied. He was one of my doctors and they were to take care of Michelle. Where Michelle, March 27, 25, an agent was outside my work. Michelle, that he broke up with Michelle. And when he got her to confess that that doctor was not one of hers, he works for them and they had lied he was one of my doctors. And she don't know who he is. And when they bashed it in her head, they tried to kill her or leave her incompetent. It didn't work. Huh? Got it out of Dave that a girlfriend from before me made him marry me so she could have free insurance and he could give her money. My whole marriage was a scam. We're May 25th, 25. They laughed about it in Hollister's and Summit Mall. About this whole thing being a scam from Bill from the Freemason. May 26, 25, Walmart 62. The cartel comes in and said how they're tired of Bill from the Freemasons. We all are. And his scam of the dirty doctor. That's not one of hers. Works for them and they had lied he was one of hers. And this whole thing is a scam from him. They're tired of him. And who does he think he is? I'd like to know who he thinks he is. And then repeatedly, June 28th, 25, out in Deerfield Circle Restaurant, we all know that attorney's office, had her drugged and told to say that. And he was taking payoff to have her raped. And the men that were paying him said they didn't mind because she's not a bad-looking older lady. Do I find this funny? Being a drugged-up rape victim? Like they said in December 23, January 24. When the case first started, we found out Karen's ex-husband was keeping her so drugged up there that they were drug beating, raping her, and she wasn't realizing what was happening. I was going to the doctor asking him if it was a dirty well water killing me. And they said it was some judge up there messed up in the drug cartel, and they wanted his connections. And everybody stay out of it. I found out it's just some guy saying he's a judge, the retired Judge Pete. He's just some guy. That's where I bet the doctor isn't a doctor, because they would know they're going to go to jail. Think about that. It's right on Google. Doctor tapes you unaware. It's under the Act of Privacy, HIPAA violations. And they get a 10-year sentence and loss of medical license immediately. If a doctor discusses you without your permission, 10-year sentence, loss of license, you can sue them up to $1 million. If a doctor treats somebody who is not assigned patient, same thing. If a doctor pulls your medical records without assigned consent, same thing. See, like they said, they didn't realize putting the word doctor on this. Where that guy's like, we have medical proof because we have that doctor tape stating it. That's not medical proof. That is an admission of crimes. And proof you did it to me because I don't know who you are. And that's called a nail in your coffin. Where that guy said that that attorney found out they have her ex-husband human trafficking that girl he's married to. Are you slow? They already knew that. November 20th to 22nd of 23. I'm at work. Danny calls me. He said, I don't know how to tell you this, Mom. He said, Dad fled the country forever. And he said, if you want the dogs, they're at the pound. I said, Danny, I can't deal with this. I'm at work. It took me a couple days. I went over there. I sat down. I said, what on earth is going on? He said, I don't know how to tell you this. Dad was acting irrationally. Okay? I said, he's been acting irrationally for years. He said, He went online and he bought this girl from an agency. And he said, I yelled at him. He said, what kind of pathetic person buys a human being? What kind of pathetic person sells yourself? You can't marry somebody you've never met. He said he wouldn't listen to me. I said, did he even meet her before he married her? He said, yeah, I went over. He said, he already paid the agency for her, paid for the wedding, paid for everything. Went over, met her a couple days, and then married her, stayed over for a while. Came home, and he said, I thought maybe she just wanted citizenship. He said, but when he got home, he started acting crazy. And he wouldn't listen and told me I could have everything. He's leaving the country forever, dropped the dogs off at the pound. And I'd never see him again. He even told me I could have his clothes as if I want his clothes. Okay? I went out with a retired Massillon police officer. Okay? I was telling Josh about it. He said, last year in the spring. And he said, Massillon police officer. He said there was a guy in Massillon helping him get away with crimes. He said, and Dad called down there, and he said he wasn't there anymore. He freaked out and fled the country forever. They talked about January 25th, 2019, that there was a guy in Massillon helping him get away with crime. I think he showed up December 18th, 24, in Walmart 62 when he found out I didn't know who Michelle was. Karen didn't know who Michelle was until January, February 19. No, I made sure of it until she showed up and announced herself. They told me she threatened her, and if she threatened her, I didn't care what happened to her, and she didn't know who she was. He said, no, not until she showed up and announced herself. I still never talked to her. Okay? And he said, I found out Karen's getting remarried again. I told that drug dealer that after what he had done to her, nobody would want her. I told him to leave her alone. Well, within the next few weeks that we were down in Carrollton at Virginia, some idiot men were out there saying stuff. So I don't know, I won't take that. So, and I go on to talk about being almost kidnapped in front of Terry Coberly. I talk about being a medication error. When we went to Walmart 62 after that, he shows up with that guy that was there December 18th, 24. And he's telling him, I found out Terry Coberly is seeing her almost being kidnapped. He said, I already told these people none of this is funny. She didn't even know who Michelle was. Now I feel really bad. And I found out it was a medication error made her sick before. He's like, I really feel bad. Well, he was outside my work a couple of weeks ago. And he was talking to a bunch of men. He said, I already told these people none of this is funny. He said, they're threatening Michelle for telling on him that doctor was never one of hers and he works for them and they lied. He said, we need more witnesses to come forward against these people. He said, I'll testify against them. Now, you think about what that guy said. We thought we had medical proof. You can't just roofie someone and tell them to say something horrible. See, like Dr. Haben, the actual pediatrician of my children, from 1984 to 2002, which is still in business, and they already talked to him. There was never any sign of abuse on my children. They were not mistreated. They were very well taken care of. And the last time he seen me, I was in a lot of pain. Were my muscles locked up? where he told me in 2001, 2002, Karen, I never had to worry one time about you abusing your children. I never had to worry about them being mistreated. He said, the only one I worry about in that house is you. You come in here with bruises. If someone's being abused, they have marks on them, weird injuries. They look down. You can see the hurt in their face. My kids were normal height, normal weight, look you in the eye and talk your ear off and smile. They were normal, happy children. Do we understand? See, you have to have medical proof. See, that's where they thought, where that guy said, we had medical proof because we had that doctor taper saying that. Where they had that guy drug me and told me to say it. I don't know who it is. That's not medical proof. That is proof you exploited me and you were part of having me drugged and told to say it. And you're so dumb where they said we had an attorney watch her unaware before to make it legal. It doesn't make it legal. It makes it highly illegal. And a real attorney would know they lose their license and go to jail. See what I mean? These people are scamming everybody. Another one. Bob Evans, 62. Today. On the other side of the divider. Part of this whole big scam.